I often get asked how I stay in shape. Or rather, I get asked even more often why I am in such good shape, right? How I got here in the first place. Now, of course, I'm sitting here wearing a robe and wearing a shirt underneath. The camera perspective and the way I'm sitting is not particularly revealing about my stature. So if you want to know what I look like roughly, I've left my Instagram down below in the description. You can go check it out. You don't have to follow me or anything. Just if you want to get an idea of what I generally look like, who this guy is who's talking to you here, you can go check it out. There are some pictures of roughly what I look like right now, some older pictures, what I've looked like in the past. And what you will see is that, generally speaking, I've been in pretty good shape. My size has changed, my body fat percentage has changed, but overall, I think most people would agree that over the years, over the course of a year, I stay in pretty good shape. Now, nutrition is a big part of staying in shape and is, of course, a big part of how I stay in shape, but that's not the point of this video. This video is specifically about working out. The truth is, one of the biggest reasons, maybe the main reason, from which all the other reasons follow for why I'm in good shape and why I remain in good shape essentially year-round, is that I've been working out since I was about 6 years old. Now, when you hear that, right, me saying this, that might sound a little strange or a little wild, a little extreme. The reason being that you probably think of working out as this sort of bodybuilding, powerlifting style workout, something like that. If you're a total newbie, you have no experience in the gym or with working out in general, or no real experience, maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's, if you're someone who goes for a casual jog every once in a while, maybe you associate some cardio style workout with those magic words, working out. Whatever it may be, chances are you have a very specific thing in mind, or at least a general concept of something particular when I say working out, right? And when I say that I've been working out since I was about 6 years old. And whatever that conception is, it's probably wrong, right? The reason being that working out is a very general term. And I think one of the big problems with fitness and the fitness industry, if you will, I'm going to use that lovely term, is that people talk about working out, and they will talk about working out with something specific in mind, right? They are thinking of something, but they will make essentially a preemptive assumption about what you think working out is. And in many cases, even about what you want to get out of working out, right? So a lot of people will talk about things you can do to improve your workout, things you can do to get motivated to work out, etc. And they will already have an idea in their head of what working out is, right? And so you might watch a video with the tips on how to get into working out, and those tips might be terrible for you. And that's not because the tips themselves are terrible. That's not because the person doesn't know what they're talking about. The reason why that video might be worth nothing to you is because maybe that way of working out isn't for you. Working out doesn't mean, or doesn't have to mean, having a super specific workout plan. This is something that I think a lot of people don't realize who nowadays get into working out. Maybe they are just a nerdy guy or a nerdy gal who like to play video games, who didn't really do any kind of sports activity throughout their teens, right? Maybe they weren't as active as a child as others might have been. And, they see fitness content, they see ripped people on Instagram, they want to get into working out, whatever the reason may be. Maybe they felt weak when they carried the groceries up the stairs. I don't know. Okay? They get into working out and they watch these videos and they watch these content creators that make content essentially for people who work out a very specific way. The problem with this is that might not be you. You don't need a super specific workout plan to work out. Mind you, I say this as someone who does have a super specific workout plan. I count everything, down to the specific rep on every set for every single workout. I have a document right here on my computer. As you can see, I work out at home where I put all of that in. But you don't need that. More specifically, you don't need that when you want to get into working out. Okay? You also don't need to be working out for an hour or more. You don't need to be doing heavy lifting when you work out. Or, vice versa. You don't need to be doing cardio when you work out. Okay? Working out can be a lot of things. Working out really just means being active, doing something for the purpose of being more physically capable in some capacity, right? If we're talking about fitness is a very general term, right? Even if you work out to be fit, that still doesn't constitute any kind of specific workout style. Not at all. Now, the problem with what I just said is, I think the most typical association with the terminology working out for people who are about my age, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, but roughly in this bracket, maybe in their 20s, their late teens, somewhere around there, is this bodybuilding / powerlifting style workout. The classic gym goer workout, if you will. And the issue with that is a traditional, say, bodybuilding style workout is pretty hardcore. Okay? For someone who has never worked out, or, who has never really worked out, who maybe, was in a sports club in like primary school, but someone who has never really been into sports, you're going to run into a lot of issues. Namely, you're going to struggle with motivation. You might run into the risk of acquiring some injuries, okay? Many people start working out hard, and I mean very hard. Not hard for, my personal way of thinking, not hard if you ask me, but working out hard for what they are capable of. Okay? I've been working out about 6 times a week for the last couple of months. Obviously, someone working out, 3 or 4 times a week for about an hour, that's not crazy to me. But that is crazy for someone who is just getting into working out. And what usually happens is these people will lose their initial interest or their initial motivation to work out, right? That push that got them into working out, that's going to subside at some point. Might take a couple of months, might take a couple of days. Okay, if the workout is hardcore enough and you hate it enough, maybe you do it twice and you're out. And then you have essentially crashed completely. All right, you're out. You don't want nothing to do with working out. It's kind of similar to what's called the yo-yo effect with the diets. Obviously a yo-yo is this thing that goes up and down on your finger. And the yo-yo effect refers to people who go on a hardcore diet, usually to lose weight. And they will lose weight. But the diet will be so tough on their body and especially on their psyche that once the diet is over, because usually they have a fixed time frame for this diet, it's the 30-day blah 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 challenge. Once that time frame is over, they crash hard and they, eat the most disgusting trash ever, essentially. Okay? That's what's called the yo-yo effect, because, you go down in weight, just as the yo-yo goes down, and then you go straight up again, because the diet was so terrible that you're essentially compensating for hating it so much for the time that you were on it. In some cases, people will end up weighing more than they did before they started the diet, or having worse eating habits. This is what, in the case of working out, leads to the classic Gym January phenomenon, right? Which was actually a term I thought I made up when I wrote the script for this video. I then Googled it and realized that it's actually a term that is used, which, it's not a creative term by any means. So that's unsurprising, I guess. Gym January is sort of a, loving but kind of sarcastic way people who regularly work out refer to folks who make New Year's resolutions signing up at a gym in January and then essentially just going there for January, maybe a little bit of February, falling off completely, and then possibly, if the stars align, doing the same thing next year. This is something I talked about with a buddy of mine when he had just gotten into working out more seriously. He had been fairly fit before, but he really got into lifting at that time. And he told me that he really dislikes going to the gym in January because it's so incredibly full. And all of the machines and the benches and the squat racks are occupied with people who will never return. So that's Gym January. And it's exactly what I'm talking about. It's people making a good New Year's resolution, people saying, hey, I want to get into working out, I want to improve this thing about myself, going way too hard right at the start, right out the gate, and then falling off. Now, the reason why I've been so successful at being in shape, if you will, in the sense that I've been pretty fit all my life. I've not always been super ripped, super jacked. I've not looked like a Marvel movie star all my life, but I've been pretty fit, pretty, just physically capable. I've had, pretty toned arms, at least for most of my life. I think most people would agree that I've always looked somewhat in shape. And for at least the last couple of years, I've been in very good shape. The reason why, and the reason why it's so easy for me to stay in shape, is I've always worked out somehow. And that's a key point. My interests have jumped wildly between sports, different disciplines, but some parts, even if they were very small, always stuck, right? So 1 month, I might have been very interested in boxing. Okay, I had a boxing bag at home, or not just boxing, kickboxing maybe. I got interested in kicks, and then through that, my interests maybe transitioned into tricking, right? Less practical kicks and, fancy stuff, tornado kicks, stuff like that. I was interested in parkour. I like to watch action movies, as most nerds do. I'm a pretty nerdy guy. What's cool about action movies? The action scenes. And what do you have in action scenes? All kinds of different sports activities, okay? I did parkour for years on my own with friends. We were never in a club, in any sports organization of any type. We just went out there and tried shit, right? And we would walk around the city, usually to get from place A to place B, right? Just going somewhere. And on our way, we would notice a place, maybe a certain architectural speciality, or a specific type of building, a set of stairs, and then maybe there's a tower right here. And we would think to ourselves, yo, that looks kind of dope to do parkour on. So we would meet up on a different day and just go there specifically to do parkour, and then just try all the different kinds of shit that you can do there. Essentially looking at it like an action movie director thinking about, hey, how can we use this location, right? How can we do cool shit with this location? That's something I did. I got pretty interested in bodybuilding. I got pretty interested in strength, just building a lot of strength, getting massive. I got very interested in being super ripped, not massive at all. Got to, the lightest I had ever been pretty much right after I had been the heaviest I'd ever been. But the thing that always stuck were like these small parts that I enjoyed about these different kinds of sports, these different disciplines. And more I got interested in, generally being in shape. More importantly, though, I accumulated positive habits, okay? I just developed a way of being, a way of living that was active, that kind of forced me to be in shape. Because it got to a point where I am now, where I've been for, the last couple of years, where I feel really, really bad when I don't work out in some way, shape, or form. It just doesn't feel right. I feel my joints starting to hurt because I sit around moping all day. Not moping, but, I might sit on the computer for hours and, my back starts to hurt and stuff like that. I will notice that not working out actually makes me feel terrible because I know what I feel like when I do work out because I've been working out for so long. You will accumulate these positive habits. It's impossible not to. Okay? And you will do so through doing what you like. Okay? Doing what you are interested in, or doing what you enjoy doing as an activity. The only important thing is you have to start and don't stop. Okay? It's that easy. You don't have to stick to the bodybuilding regime that you have picked out for yourself. If it sucks ass, if you don't enjoy it, screw it. It doesn't matter. Okay? But the important thing is, just because you stop doing the bodybuilding regime, you don't stop working out. Pick a new thing. You got YouTube. You are right here on YouTube in the possession of the largest amount of knowledge and inspiration regarding working out that anyone has ever had in the history of mankind. Okay? You can get into just about anything. You can get into fucking historical sword fighting if you want to. Just work out. Anything. Do anything. Okay? Follow your interests. Follow your desires, follow what activities you enjoy doing. Just do something. Right? That's the title of this video. Just do it. Just do it, bro. It's that easy. I had to take a quick break. There was some commotion. Someone came in. The bell started ringing for what felt like 5 minutes straight. I'm back. People trying to conceptualize everything is something that's not unique to working out. This is, a thing that exists across different fields. It's especially typical with people who are quite intelligent, and oftentimes people who have been told a lot that they are quite intelligent, or who have realized for themselves, that they are quite intelligent. These are the kinds of people who will often feel like they aren't supposed to fail. Or not even fail, they aren't supposed to make any mistakes. Because they're intelligent, right? Wrong. People trying to conceptualize everything perfectly beforehand in regards to working out will fail for several reasons. The ideal workout doesn't exist. There are multiple ways of viewing this, okay? First of all, the science keeps progressing. I'm not saying scientists just change their mind about topics, okay? What I am saying is exercise science is a relatively new field. Disregarding the fact that even in well-established sciences, new discoveries are being made on the daily. Every week, every month. Someone is working on a new theory, experimenting with something, making new discoveries. But exercise science is actually a very young discipline, okay? So we've come a long way since even just, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So you can't design the ideal workout just because once you've created that perfect workout plan from all this different input that you've gathered, from various sources, chances are something's already changed. There's already been some new discovery. Another problem is that different things work for different people. Not everyone has the same body. In fact, no one has the same body. Even twins have slight differences depending on, how their early childhood went, how the pregnancy went, in some cases. So you have to find out what works for you, and you might actually be surprised how big the variation can be when it comes to what works for one person and what doesn't work for another person, right? There is no perfect workout split. Scratch that. That's already specific to bodybuilding and powerlifting style workouts. Maybe that is not perfect for you. Okay? That doesn't just depend on your body as well. It also depends on your personality, your psychological state. What kind of working out motivates you? Do you enjoy working out for really long periods of time, but maybe not as frequently? Do you enjoy working out every single day for maybe just, 15 minutes, 30 minutes? All of this factors into what the ideal workout is. And you can't really know any of this unless you just do it. Right? People who don't work out also lack imagination regarding goals, but also just the day-to-day stuff. Just the basics of working out. The simplest of components. Stuff that maybe someone like me doesn't even think about. The reason why is they are not in the same state of mind. They don't have the same perspective as someone who works out does. Even someone who, has just started working out. Even someone who's been working out for, maybe 2 or 3 months. Your perspective is an entirely different one. And every one of you that has, entered a new school, has, acquired a new job, has gotten a new position at a new company, has gotten their first job even. Every single one of you knows that even after just a week of being there, you feel totally differently. You think totally differently about the entire situation than you did beforehand. Maybe some of the things you imagined are the way they are, but chances are most of the things are nothing at all like you imagined them. Okay? In many cases, people start working out for the simplest of reasons. Okay? They want to perform a little better. Right? Something like that. Maybe they want to be a little healthier. Maybe they just want to look better. All of that is fine. But let's be honest here. Okay? That's pretty general. Like, look better? That's not very specific. If you don't really work out a lot, you probably have no idea of what you actually want to look like. Okay? Maybe you don't even really have a comparison of jacked people. You just think, I want to be jacked. But what kind of jacked? Hugh Jackman jacked? Or maybe, guy at the park who can do 20 push-ups, or 20 pull-ups rather, jacked? Like, what kind of jacked? What do you actually want to look like? Same thing goes for the other two things I mentioned. You want to be healthier? What does that actually mean for you specifically? What is unhealthy about your current lifestyle? What are your problems? Okay? So, you can't really conceptualize a physical activity. That's another thing. A physical activity is something you feel. Okay, so at least in regards to what you're going to enjoy, whether or not you're going to enjoy working out and what type of working out you're going to enjoy, you can't conceptualize that. That's impossible. Because physical activities, just by the nature of what they are, cannot be conceptualized. If we're talking about a scientific discipline, okay, a certain subject in school that is entirely intellectual, if you will, of course, reading up on that is gonna make you more knowledgeable. I don't have to do all those experiments that some physician, or not some physician, some physicist rather, at some point did to acquire this specific piece of knowledge. I do not. I can just read about the result and memorize that, right? Or understand a certain concept that he explains. I can't understand what it feels like to work out a certain way. I have to just do it. I've written down an example here. I think it's decent, to say the least. It's kind of comparable to trying to play the guitar just once, despite either not being able to or having no idea how to, even. Okay. Maybe you know how, but you have never played the guitar. Okay. You're just not capable in terms of the muscle memory. You try this once, you obviously fail because you can't play the guitar. And then you say you don't enjoy it as an activity. You just don't like playing the guitar in general. That's kind of stupid, right? That makes zero sense. You can't play the guitar. How on earth are you gonna know anything about playing the guitar? About whether or not it's fun in general, and specifically whether or not it's fun to you? You don't. You have no idea. Working out is exactly the same. You can only find what really works for you, and maybe even discover what you actually want out of working out, if you just do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't research, but do so as you go. Okay? Only look up what you need, what you actually need to get going. Maybe watch like a short video. Basics. A 10-minute video, a 20-minute video. Watch it. Then go and do it. Apply it practically. Immediately after watching it. Okay? Reflect. Maybe do some more research. Okay? You go, you apply it again. You just do it. Repeat, 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 etc. Once you've gathered some experience, okay, which is going to take some time, as it does with all things, set more specific goals, research more specifically the things you actually need to know, apply your knowledge about your own body that you have acquired through working out, which you could not possibly have applied because you could not possibly have had it if you didn't work out in the first place. And that's how you get jacked. That's how you get into good shape, and that's how you stay in good shape. But to get to this point, to get to this point of being able to, apply that knowledge, to research specifically what you want to know, to set specific goals, you just have to do it first. No two ways about it. I've already been talking for a very long time. I did not expect this video to be this long. Obviously, I'm just sitting here and talking to you. There's one final point I would like to make, and that's don't feel ashamed or intimidated by big guys. I wrote down big guys because, this is obviously specific to something like bodybuilding or powerlifting. In the case of powerlifting, it would be people who bench or deadlift like insane numbers. But you can apply this to any sport, really. Okay? Don't feel ashamed that you're not capable of doing that. Don't feel ashamed that you don't look like that. That's like never getting a job because someone else has worked in the same position at that company for years. That person is better at that job than you are. So what, you're not going to apply for the position because someone else works at the company who's better than you? Because they have actually already been doing the job? So what, you're just going to starve to death? Like, that doesn't make any sense. People with experience who have worked will always be better. That's the nature of things. If I have put work into something, I'm going to be better at it than you if you have never done it before. That obviously. That doesn't mean that that you couldn't become better than I am within a very short amount of time. Maybe you're way more talented than I am. But if you never do it, you're never going to be better at it than I am. Only way to change that is to do it. You're still going to be shit at it, by the way, if you don't do it. You're just not being confronted with that fact, maybe. So what, you're going to protect your feelings because you feel embarrassed that you're shit at something, so you're just going to stay shit at it, but, not engage with that? That doesn't really make any sense. That's just ignoring reality at the end of the day. And to be honest, if we're talking about the gym, most gym goers really respect newbies who want to change. Maybe even envy them in some cases because of the journey you've got ahead of you. Because the most satisfying thing about working out, as I would argue with most things, is looking back and seeing your progress. And these big guys that you feel intimidated by, they are not making a lot of progress. Okay, they already are jacked. I'm starting to stumble over my own words here because we need to finish this video. These guys are probably in some cases going to envy you because you've got so much to gain. Think about playing an amazing game for the first time. Think about watching a life-changing movie for the first time. Do you know that feeling when you get to show that movie or play that game with someone who's never played it before? That is so wholesome because you remember what it felt like to you. Okay? Most of these guys are going to root for you, are going to be real happy for you, are in some cases even going to be invested in your journey just because they went through some of the same shit. Oftentimes the biggest guys in the gym were the biggest wimps when they started out. If you're really uncomfortable, if you're saying, no way I'm going to work out at a gym, just work out at home for a little. Right? Just for a while. To get in shape, to get like a solid foundation. And then you can go to the gym and not feel as bad about yourself because probably there's going to be someone who's worse than you are. Okay? Or if you're like super introverted and you're super uncomfortable in public spaces and you just feel like you can't focus on your workout, maybe buy some equipment. Buy some gym equipment because honestly, that's a long-term investment. Nothing is going to happen to that equipment. Okay? Buy something that is adjustable. I recommend, buying something like a barbell and weights. You can see right behind me. I've got quite a bit of gym equipment at home. I enjoy working out at home, not because I'm embarrassed at the gym, more so for practical reasons. It just saves me time. I don't have to get to the gym and get back home, stuff like that. But if you buy a barbell and weights, that's going to stay forever. That's an investment for the rest of your life. You're going to have that, okay? You just have to buy more weight at some point if you want to up the ante in that regard. But the weight you already have is not wasted, okay? You're going to own this forever. You're going to use this forever. So if you really, really, really don't feel like going to the gym, for example, just get what you need at home. Just go outside and work out in the park. Just do some push-ups. You don't even need equipment, okay? For a lot of workout styles, you don't need equipment. Most people, who want to look pretty good, they would agree that a lot of calisthenics people look crazy jacked. You don't need anything for calisthenics. Just go to the local park. That's it. As I said at the start, nutrition is also important. So this is essentially the part where this video is over. If you are already incredibly bored, you can switch off now. But I just want to give a little bit of an outlook for the future. Again, as I said at the start, nutrition is very, very important when it comes to staying in shape, being in shape in the first place, and also maintaining that physique or, that level of strength or capability in some other field. I'll talk about diet probably in the next video. I've already got some things I want to say. Obviously, I have a diet of my own that I follow. Also, more generally, I have some things to say about diet that maybe aren't specific to me, but similarly to this video, are just generally applicable. My plan overall is to upload about 1 or 2 short videos like this one per week, where I don't do a lot of editing, if any editing at all. I'm just gonna talk to you guys. You don't have to watch these videos, right? You can just listen to them. Pop in your headphones maybe while you're buying your groceries or going for a walk, sort of like a podcast. And then when I have the time, I maybe once in a while want to do a long format video, probably over an hour, maybe 2 hours, depends on the topic, where I go a little more in depth on things. Those videos ideally will be a little more scripted, and maybe I'm going to do some more editing, stuff like that. We'll see. Okay. If you enjoyed what you heard, if I could help you out in some way, any way at all, I would greatly appreciate if you leave a like down below. And if you're curious about something, if something in this video made you stop, maybe a question popped up in your mind, go ahead and leave a comment. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm also happy to take requests if you're interested in something specific for the future. My voice is starting to give out, so I'm gonna probably leave it at that. If you want to see where this goes, go ahead and subscribe. I don't know if the notification bell is still a thing or not. That people have stopped saying that, so I have no idea. Go ahead and hit the notification bell if you feel like it, and if you don't feel like it, don't, I guess. And yeah, whatever you do, whether you like this video or you didn't like this video, just do it, bro. Just go and work out.